Welcome to TntConnect Basics. My name is Jen Woodrum. I was a PD coach with Wycliffe USA for about 6 years. And so I am here to teach you about how to get started using TntConnect. This is the first of 3 webinars. So during this webinar, I'm going to cover the basics of starting the program, how to use your dashboard, what information is included there, the address tab and how to edit that information, how to import your contacts into your database, and then also we'll go over the TNT tab and how to manage your donor information, your donor financial information. Okay. So before we move over to TNT, I wanted to show you this website. So this website is the resource site for TntConnect. You'll see that there's the basics, intermediate, and tips and tricks. So if you click on read more underneath any of those webinars, it'll take you to sort of a resource center, and you can find some outline, the workbooks, an Excel sheet that I'm going to show you here in just a few moments, and some other information as well, so FAQs and things like that. So there's a lot of helps available on this website. And you see the address for that website up here at the top of the page. If you have not yet downloaded TntConnect, if you type in TntConnect into your web browser, their website is the first one that pulls up, and go to their download page. Make sure that you download the version that's right for your computer. So there's a different version for Windows and Mac. So make sure that you have the version that's appropriate for your device. Once you've downloaded TNT, you'll have a database that looks a little bit like this. Of course, none of your contacts or anything will be in here yet, but it will have your own name as a blank contact. One thing to keep in mind is that you do have to create the database. So even if you created an Excel sheet, TNT is going to ask you, do you want to create a new database? The Excel sheet is not your database. Okay, so you still need to tell TntConnect, yes, I want to create a new database. And then you're going to import your Excel worksheet into that database. Okay, so once you have it set up, again, the only thing you'll see is your own name. I recommend just kind of leaving that there for right now, and I talk later in in later webinars about some ways that you can use that record. Okay, so first thing that we want to talk about is how to import your contacts into TNT. What I recommend that people do is to use an Excel worksheet that looks a little bit like this. Okay? And this is a resource, again, that's available on the website that I showed you at the beginning. But I recommend that you first set up your Excel sheet with these same title names as that I have at the top here. And the reason for that is there's a one-on-one correlation to the fields that are present in TntConnect, so it'll make your upload process a lot simpler. You do not have to have all of these fields, so if you want to delete some of them, if you're not worried about title or the spouse's title, you can delete those. That won't affect your import process. You do want to save it as a CSV file and not as an Excel worksheet, because TNT will not accept the Excel worksheet. And the reason that I recommend that you use this as a way to import your contacts instead of doing it one by one is because it's going to save you a lot of time. You're going to be able to see real quickly what information you're missing, what you still need to collect, and that kind of thing. And this is just faster to type up than it is to do it record by record in TntConnect itself. If you do want to upload a contact, one contact at a time, maybe you got 1 or 2 new people at a church service that you want to, and you don't want to create an Excel sheet for them. So you can go ahead and use this new contact button at the top of the screen, and that'll give you the opportunity to add them manually. Okay, and then you can click OK, and that'll add them. All right. So once you've imported your contacts, you'll see a list of them show up here. Another way that you can import contacts, or I'm sorry, once you have your Excel sheet completed, you're going to want to go to this File menu, and then go down to Import, and import contacts from text. When you click Import Contacts from Text, you can upload your file, and that'll move all those contacts from the Excel sheet or the CSV document into TntConnect. So that's how you get those in there. You'll notice when I went to this file that it also gives you the opportunity to import contacts from Outlook. I typically encourage people not to do that because the one person I know who's tried that ended up with 3,000 contacts in TNT. He really only wanted 200 of those, so it uploaded his entire email address book from Outlook. So just be careful about that. I recommend instead, if you will download that to your computer, so download it into an Excel sheet and make the needed edits, and then upload it into TNT. You're probably going to have better results if you'll do it that way. Another way that you can import contacts into TNT is actually through MailChimp. This is something that I talk about in a later webinar, but if you go to sync with MailChimp and follow the steps of including your API key and things like that, it will also allow you to share contacts across platforms. Again, that's in the third webinar, I believe, on TntConnect. So I'm not going to go over that today. Making sure that I'm catching everything. An important feature about TntConnect is that they have something they like to call the F1 key, or the magic F1 key. If you push that button, you push the F1 key, it'll bring up a relevant help page in your web browser based on what you're looking at. So for example, if I pull up a lookup and say look up last name, and it brings up this screen and I hit F1 and I'm connected to the internet, it's gonna take me over to a web browser that has a relevant help screen about what I was looking at. So this is the looks up dialog box. So anywhere you're at in TNT, if you hit that F1 key, it's going to take you online and bring up a relevant help. So that's a really nice feature of TntConnect. So if you get stuck, hitting that F1 key should be your first recourse. Updating your database, so you'll see down here at the bottom where it says new version available. Anytime you see that, go ahead and click on it and it'll update your database without you having to go to the website. And so from there, we're going to go ahead and start looking at your contact information. So this is your kind of your dashboard area here at the top. And so the first thing you'll see here is the contact's name and address, phone number, and email addresses. All of this information is populated from the information you find on the address tab. Okay, and you'll notice here I have 2 addresses, but only 1 address appears at the top. Here I have 1 phone number, but I have 3 numbers in the record. Okay, so how they're choosing which information shows up here is based on this little black dot that you see next to some of the contact information. I'm going to talk about that a little bit more here in a minute, but that's considered your preferred information. If you move to the right of this information here, you'll see information that is contained on your TNT tab that we're going to cover in a little while. The $100 monthly is what I've indicated this partner has promised to give each month. The green dot in the current shows that this partner is up to date in their giving. If you look over here to the left, you'll see the green, yellow, and red, and light blue. Each of these dots represent a different financial status for the partner. The green dot indicates that the partner is on task or has given currently, is upholding their promise. The yellow shows that they're a month behind, and the red shows they're 2 months or more behind. The light blue indicates that the partner has promised to give but hasn't started yet. And then there's also some purple dots that indicate partners are given special financial gifts but haven't promised to give on a regular basis. If your partner goes to red, this is an indication that you need to follow up with that partner. Okay, so a lot of times partners' credit card information expires or some other error occurs that they're not even aware of. They didn't intend to quit giving, but they stopped giving because that information has expired. So it's important to contact them soon, as soon as that turns red. One of the reasons behind that, of course, is, for example, we had somebody who, a partner who had quit giving to somebody, and that person didn't realize it for over a year that the partner had quit giving. Well, now it's really awkward to approach that person because that communicates to that person my gift really didn't matter to you. Otherwise, you would have noticed that we had quit giving much sooner. Okay, so go ahead and follow up with people who have quit giving for more than 2 months. The reason that I don't do it when it turns yellow is because sometimes there's a glitch in the system, or sometimes they gave right at the end of the month and now it shows up as 2 gifts in the following month. So I usually, like I said, I usually wait till it's red. If you want to do it as soon as it turns yellow, and you're free to do that. Just be careful about how you're wording your message to your partners. You don't want those messages to be accusatory, right? Just asking, you know, did something happen? Is there a way that I can be praying for you? Do we need to check something on our side about what's gone wrong with the giving? I'm sure you'll hear more about that in other places. So just really think through how you want to communicate with your partners as you're considering following up from lapsed giving. Okay, so moving from there, the average month, this partner has promised to give 100 monthly, but on average they're only giving 69 monthly. So this might be something you need to adjust or a conversation to have with the partner. Sometimes this number will be higher than what they've promised. And so it's just kind of giving you that overview. This number here, you're going to see the first time that you use the Get to Input button and sync with Wycliffe's system. The donors that you bring in from there will be given a number by Wycliffe, so you don't actually control this number. Moving down, you'll see next task. This task list is populated from the tasks tab, which is covered in the intermediate webinar, so I won't be going over it today. The notes section is populated from the notes tab. We will go over that in a little bit. The TNT phase is on the TNT tab, so I'll talk about that once we get to the TNT tab. And then the church name. So the church name is important at this stage because for a lot of people, when you first go to the contact, you'll see that there's a blank here and they won't have a drop-down menu. So this will be empty. The way that you get a new church name into your database is by typing it in. Okay, so once I type in that new church name and I go to another contact, that church name is now available as one of the selections. Okay, so that was not obvious to me when I first started using this program, that you just type it in and it would save it without me doing anything else. So just kind of keep that in mind as you're working on inserting the churches. One thing to note too is some of these orange addresses. So an orange address indicates that the information that Wycliffe has on this partner is not the same as the information that you have on the partner. And so it's saying, hey, there's a conflict in the data. If you click on this, you'll be able to review the data and decide whether or not you want to accept or ignore the updated information from online. Okay, if you don't, you'd say ignore. If you do, you'd say accept. And it would walk you through a couple of steps to accept that change. When you accept the change, it automatically logs it in your history so that you don't lose the old address data. So if it was a mistake, you're always able to recover that address information without too much difficulty. In order to look this up, okay, so I only have 20 addresses, and so it would be easy for me to just go clicking down the list and trying to find all my orange addresses, right? But if you have 300 contacts, you're not going to want to do that. So what you would do instead is go to your lookup, okay, this lookup menu, and go down to unreviewed account info, and then click OK. And now all the addresses that are available to me are ones that need reviewed. Once you've reviewed all of your addresses, you're going to want to pull up the rest of your contacts, right? So I have 20 contacts, but I can only see 5 of my contacts right now. This is considered my current group. So anytime I do a group task, this is the group that they're talking about. In order to get to see all of my contacts, to me it made sense to click this X button. But when you click the X button, it makes your whole contact list go away. That made me panic the first couple of times I did it. Okay, so the way you get that back is by clicking on this little icon right here, and it'll bring your contact list back. But notice that there's still not 20 people here, there's still only 5. So to clear the filter that's been placed on your list, you click this little filter tool to the right of the one that we clicked before. Okay, and when you click that, you'll see that all of your contacts return to your list. So that's just a helpful thing to have in your pocket. It's a mistake that I still make to this day. So just be aware that when that happens, this is the button that helps you fix it. Okay, so moving down into the address tab. In the address tab, again, you'll see that there are 3 different places for addresses. Okay, some people will include the person's business address. Some people will have an overseas address or a college address, as well as their primary home. in the States or in their home state. And so those are some of the reasons that you might have multiple addresses for an individual. One of the things that's important is this little black dot. So first, to edit an address, you just double click in the box and it'll pull up the editing field to allow you to edit the person's address. The black dot is a preferred address. So again, the preferred address is going to be the address that appears here at the top of the screen. And then it's also going to be the address that you use for labels or envelopes if you decide to print those from TNT. So it's a pretty important feature. The way to change it is to double click on the address that you want to be your preferred address and click this little mailing box. When you click the mailing box, it'll move the dot to that address. So that address is marked now as preferred. It's the same thing with the telephone numbers. If you want to edit or add or delete telephone numbers, you just double click in this box and it'll pull it up. By clicking on the arrow, you'll see there's lots of options to include different kinds of phone numbers. You can only mark one phone number as preferred, and you do that by clicking the little check marks to the right of the phone number. The checkbox to the left of the phone number indicates whether or not the phone number is valid. So if I uncheck it, it puts a red line through it and says that number is not valid, but it doesn't delete it. Okay. So that's that box. And again, if you mark a number as preferred, that's the number that's going to show up at the top here. There is a way to connect this to Skype. I'm not going to go over that right now, but if you go ahead and connect your account to Skype, clicking on this will auto-generate a history item and it'll initiate a call. It won't start the call in Skype, but it'll bring up the person's contact information in Skype for you to make the call. The next box is the email and web box. So here is where you can, if you click this little down arrow, you'll see there's all sorts of information that you can track for a partner. Again, the check to the right indicates that this is the email that's preferred and the email that will occur at the top of your screen there. If you uncheck the left, again, it'll say that it's an invalid email address. And then you'll notice that there's a way to do Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, web pages, all sorts of information. What I'd like to encourage people here is to not get bogged down in the details. So it's not going to be effective for you probably to put all your partner's Facebook pages into TntConnect, because most people just go to Facebook and go to their friend's page from Facebook. Okay, so really only use the information here that it's going to be helpful for you. It's going to make sense for you to come to TNT in order to go to Facebook. That's when you would put it here. So we don't want you to spend lots of time storing information here that's not going to actually help you move towards your goals. It's not actually going to make your PD easier. Okay, so don't get overwhelmed by all the details. You don't have to use all the fields that they have available to you. The next thing is greetings. So greetings is really important for a couple of reasons. So the address block and the greetings down here. If you click on address block, it gives you the opportunity to change the information. I can see that you're not able to see my screen right now. But when I click on address block, it pops up the person's address, the way it's going to appear on labels and envelopes. And it gives you the opportunity to change the partner's name without changing it in their official record. Now that can be important for a couple of reasons. For example, if Wycliffe has the partner's name as William and Janet, but you know them as Bill and Jan, you might want to change that on their envelopes and labels before you print them out. I've also heard people use this when one of the spouses becomes deceased. You're not able to delete them, one spouse from the database usually, but you can change it in the address field so that it only shows the spouse that's still living. Clearly, you want to make sure that that's set up if you're going to be printing envelopes and labels. Please be sensitive about that for your partners. That is the basis of this screen. Yeah, I've covered all the features of the address tab. And so the next tab then is the TNT tab. So the TNT tab is where all of your partner's financial information is going to be stored. Okay. So the first thing that you'll see is this this TNT phase. And so if you click TNT phase, you'll see that you have several options: call for appointment, appointment scheduled, partner financial. It's one of the ways that you can indicate in TNT what your next step is with that partner. Once a partner has given, most of the time TNT will go ahead and switch this automatically to designate that they're now a financial partner. It seems like it's not 100% fail-proof thing though, so you might want to check it to make sure it's been changed. The next ask, I've never used it before. If you decide that you have a use for it, feel free to use it, of course. But I've always put this information into my task, the task tab. Pledge is how much the person is partnered for. So this will typically be blank, which you'd see here. So it typically look like this. And I would start setting some of this information. Okay, and so maybe this person has partnered for $50 a month, promised to give $50 a month, and they've promised to do it monthly. Okay, so I'm choosing how often they're going to give, and then I'm going to say okay. Now you'll see that this person received a light blue circle. The reason they received a light blue circle is because I've indicated that they're going to give monthly, but they haven't actually given any gifts yet. Okay. Now also, if the person is going to pledge and the pledge has been received, you're going to want to check this box. If you don't check the box, when you go to your analysis tab, it's not going to let you know how much money, it's not going to calculate these numbers correctly. Okay, so if you want to indicate that a partner is giving monthly, make sure to check this little box. Once you've indicated that a partner is a partner financial, they'll also turn green. So you'll see here that some of the names have turned green on the left side of my screen. Again, that's indicating that they are regular, or they promise to be ongoing financial partners. The next box down is the send newsletter. So this is important if you're going to connect to MailChimp, especially. If you don't check this, okay, and you don't indicate that they want to receive an email copy in some way, then they won't be pulled over into your MailChimp contact list or your MailChimp audience. So make sure that you do click this if you want that. You'll also notice some symbols over here to the left. You'll see there's an envelope and an @ sign. The envelopes indicate that you've indicated that this person has a preference to receive a paper email. The @ sign indicates that the person prefers email copy of your newsletter or updates. If you see both, you've either indicated that they want paper and email. If you see it with a plus sign. If you see this arrow, the arrow indicates that this person prefers to receive your updates by postal mail, but they don't have an accurate address. And so this person is willing to receive an email backup version of your newsletter. Okay, so there's a lot of options in there. It's also actually something that you can set up in your Excel worksheet if you want to. And there are some columns for that. So this true and false indicate that yes, they do or don't want us to receive your update. It's that little checkbox. So true checks the box, false leaves the checkbox blank. And then this newsletter media preference, there's a key for that would let you indicate what that partner's preference is. So if you want to do it in your Excel sheet before uploading it, instead of trying to do it record by record, that is a possibility for you. And just reach out to the PD inbox if you need those references. Okay. Or there are links on the resource website that has the FAQs. And again, you can get that by emailing the PD inbox or the PD web email address, which is PD_webinars_USA@wycliffe.org. And they should be able to help you out with these things. Moving over to region. Region, it works like the church box did. So if you want to include a region, you would type the name in. They don't have any predetermined regions. I've seen people use that for if their partnership development team is in 2 different locations. So if you have part of your partnership team on the West Coast and part of them on the East Coast, you might want to type in region so that you can pull up only those partners when you start looking at PD trips. Reference by, I typically encourage people to use that for their advocates. So say an advocate did a home meeting for you and 6 people that you never met before came to that home meeting. Well, you might want to remember how you met those 6 people once they're in your database. The way that you can do that is by saying which advocate introduced you to them. Setting up pledge currencies is not something I've ran into a Wycliffe USA members needing. Because, for example, if you have a partner in Switzerland, that partner is going to give to Wycliffe in Switzerland. Wycliffe Switzerland is going to transfer the money to Wycliffe USA, and then you're going to get it in US dollars. So if you have a reason to store multiple currencies, of course, feel free to use that feature. It's really straightforward if you click through it, but I'm not going to show it to you today. And then setting up newsletter languages, again, is pretty straightforward. I've seen this used for people who have newsletters in 2 different languages. So if your update is in Spanish and in English, you might want to indicate which kind of update that person prefers, but that's helpful for you. Deceased is if a partner passes away, especially a financial partner. If a financial partner passes away, you don't want to delete their record, because if you delete their record, you're going to lose all their financial data. All their giving data will be gone. If you mark them deceased, it'll gray out the client. Oops, not the client, sorry. It'll gray out the partner. Let's see, kind of goofed up all my settings. It'll gray out the partner so that it doesn't appear in your envelopes or labels, but it doesn't completely delete the person from your database. So you're able to keep all of your financial information, even though that person's no longer active or present. Okay. The next one is direct deposit. That's not relevant to Wycliffe USA folks. And then magazine. I've seen people use that to track who they want to give an end-of-year gift to. So some people will get the Wycliffe calendar for their financial partners. If that's something that you want to do and you want to remember who those people are, you can check this box and remember, so that you can pull them up in a search and print out labels or envelopes or whatever you want to do for those folks. The next area we're going to look at is this amounts category, amount campaign memo category. This is just a numerical list of all the gifts that the partner has given. So this will automatically populate when you sync up to Wycliffe. If you want to add a gift manually, you right-click in this area and click Add New Gift. And choose the date that the gift was given. Okay, I know that you can't tell how I changed it, but I clicked on this little calendar and chose by month. And then you type in the amount here. Okay, ignore the campaign information. You can use the memo to say like gift card, maybe they gave it to you for your birthday. It's some sort of personal gift. It's not going to come through Wycliffe. And then uncheck available on the web and check as a personal gift, right? So not a gift that's been given to my ministry, it's a gift just for me. And the reason I know that is because it's not going to be assessed. It's not going to be taxed through Wycliffe. It was a birthday gift or it was an anniversary gift. It was meant for me as a person, not for my ministry, okay? You want to make sure that you check this, because if you don't, it's going to try to, TNT will try to delete the gift every time you sync to Wycliffe, because it's going to say, you said this was on the web, it's not on the web, we want to get rid of it. And you're going to have to fight with the system to keep your gift in. Okay, so if you don't want that to happen, click this personal gift, click OK, and now the gift has been added to your database. Okay. The next is this visible chart. So it's a visible representation of how the person's giving is going. So you can see that this partner was giving $100 a month, suddenly skipped 4 months, and then picked back up. It's just a quick way to look at your financial giving data to see if they've relapsed, to see if they're giving more than what they promised to give. So you can send a special thank you for that. But it's just a nice way to look at that. You can also look at current group, and that'll show you the giving data for everybody in this group. So you'll show this person didn't receive any financial gifts from anybody in the month of October. And they received $450 from all of their financial partners on April. So that's the difference between the individual and the current group. Now, the next important thing is how to get your financial data into your database. This has recently changed. So the last time I created this video, Wycliffe USA members were not able to use the gift input button. However, that's no longer the case. The gift input button now does work for Wycliffe USA members. To set it up, you click on the gift input button and go to download organization list. From there, scroll to the bottom of the list, we're way at the bottom here, and go to Wycliffe USA. Okay. Then you need to click login. Okay. It's not showing you my screen right now. I'm aware of that. But just know that the next screen says you must log in to continue. And it'll have an icon in the middle of the screen that says log in with Wycliffe. click that button, and then it's going to take you to the screen where you're signing into Workday. Okay, I know you still can't see my screen, but you'll have three options. It'll be SIL, Wycliffe Bible Translators USA, or Workday Partner Access. You want Wycliffe Bible Translators USA. And then you want to sign in with your password. Okay, just like you would sign in for Workday. Sorry, it's having some issues. And again, I know you can't see my screen, but I want to walk you through the steps. Okay, so you put in your password, click login, and then I have mine set up to work with my phone. So it's with my smartphone app, and I have to put in my 6-digit code. Hold on just a second. Sorry about that, I didn't have my phone. You'll want to get your phone, and it'll be the Google Authenticator. So you have to go into the Google Authenticator app in order to get your code. And so once you have your code, you type in those 6 numbers and click verify. Okay, once you've verified, there's going to be 2 options of approve or cancel. You're going to click approve. And then it says TntConnect has received the authentication response. And you can click close. Once that's happened, you return to TNT. You should be able to see my screen again now. You return to TNT, and you'll see that I have organization, the login is set up, and my profile says staff account. Now I'm going to click next. And it's going to ask what dates I want them to download my financial data from. So if you need it from several years ago, go ahead and click back and go to get as much financial data as you can. Once you've clicked those dates, go ahead and click download. I'm not going to click that right now because I don't want real financial data in this database. Okay. But once you click download, it'll go through just a few more steps to help you get your financial data in here, and then it'll automatically populate. In the future, if you want to upload your financial data, you would just click on Get Input again, click Next, and now all you got to do is tell it what dates you want to download. They will give you opportunities to update the partner's personal information, so to look at those orange addresses. So if you want to do that, just go ahead and say OK, and it'll give you the chance to look at that information as well. But again, once you've connected your account, all you need to do is do the gift input, next, select your dates, and upload the financial information, and that's how you'll get your partner's gift information into your database. That is all that is meant to be covered in this particular webinar. A couple of other things to think about. Some people have questions about backups. So if you go to File and Backup, you can create a backup of your own, or you can restore from a previous backup. Now, TntConnect does do lots of auto backups. It auto backups every hour you have your database open. It auto backups every time you close your database. Sorry, not every time you open it, every time you close your database. And then it automatically creates a backup anytime you do a mass field change. So it's constantly creating backups for you. But if there are a reason that you wanted to create a manual backup, this is how you do it. If you go to backup, type in the name and click OK. Dropbox is also important if your spouses who are going to be using this together and you want to use it on different computers. If you click on that, it'll either help you sign up for a Dropbox account, or it'll ask you for your login information to connect to Dropbox. And that will allow you to use it across computers. So that's a really nice feature, so that you don't have to download it from one computer to upload it to the other computer. Again, so that's the information that I planned on covering. And today, we went over the dashboard, we went over address tab and TNT tab, how to import your gifts, how to import your contacts. The intermediate webinar will cover the next couple of tabs. It'll go over task and history tabs, as well as some other important information. Another tab that I probably should have covered during this webinar is the family tab. So you'll see here that you can include the names of the children, names of the church, and then you can actually go into interests and nicknames and business names, profession, birth dates, anniversary. There's a lot of stuff here. Again, don't get overwhelmed by this. Don't spend all your PD time working on this database. Only include the stuff in the database that's going to make your PD successful. It's going to help you move towards your goals. So I hope this webinar was helpful for you. Again, if you have any questions, send them to pd_webinars_USA@wycliffe.org, and somebody from that email address will respond to your questions as quickly as they can. Thank you again for joining us, and have a great day.